Hey everyone, I'm Karlyn Borysenko with Decode the Left. This is a live stream that I'm doing over on my Substack, where you can find me at Karlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. And I apologize for not doing live streams on Substack lately. I know I've taken a little bit of a break. It's just been there's just been so much stuff going on. It is something I want to get back in the habit of doing because I do appreciate my Substack supporters. Substack is the main way that I finance what I'm doing. So I appreciate everyone supporting my work for $8 a month, $80 a year. You guys keep me independent. And so there's nothing that I value more than independence. And can I just say, there is someone on the internet, and I'm not going to name him. I don't want to embarrass him. I actually do like him as a person, but there's someone that I really respect that kind of does similar things to me, and that he records leftist meetings and posts them online. And today he just announced that he's going to work for the Manhattan Institute. And my first thought was, oh man, this ruins everything. And that's the value of being independent, because I understand he's got a great opportunity, he thinks, to go work for the Manhattan Institute. But anytime you hear, I hear about conservative think tanks, what I think is narrative shills. The benefit of being independent is that I get to tell you guys the truth. I get to show up with receipts. Anytime you work for a big organization or you're funded with political money, your job is to tell a political story. And I don't play that game. And the reason that I don't have to play that game is you guys allow me the ability to do it by funding my work. So I really, really appreciate it. I will try to do some more live streams on the Substack lately. Carrie Shaw says, best ROI right here, folks. Can't be said enough. Take the leap. Thank you so much, Carrie. I do really appreciate the support. Well, if you saw the little clip that I posted earlier, I just want to extrapolate out on this a little bit. There was a polling article today in the New York Post that basically says that I was right. That may well have been the headline of the article. Karlyn Borysenko was right again, and Zoran Mandami is going to be the next mayor of New York City. If you guys didn't get a chance to see it, hang on, I'll show it to you. This is the article in the New York Post today. Zoran Mandami's election rivals have little chance even if they team up in stunning new poll. And if we go into the article, we're going to find out. Check this out. The scandal-scarred independents running for New York City mayor stand little chance against frontrunner Zoran Mandami, even if the rivals team up against the socialist candidates, a shocking new poll found. Mandami, a Queens assemblyman and the Democratic nominee, is projected to handily win the November general election with 50% of likely voters in the latest survey released Tuesday by Zenith Research. Ex-Governor Andrew Cuomo, who has decided to continue his comeback tour after his embarrassing June primary loss to the 33-year-old Mandami, came in a distant second with 22%. Andrew Cuomo only has 22% of the vote. That's actually less than he got in the primary, by the way. He got something like 33% in the primary. And just so you guys know, Zoran Mandami kicked his ass in the primary by 12 points. While GOP nominee Curtis Silwa pulled in 13%. 13%. That guy ran unopposed to get that nomination, too. Mayor Eric Adams, who bailed on the Democratic Party line after his historic corruption case took months for the Trump administration to kill, failed to muster more than 7%. So 7 plus 13 equals 20 plus 22 equals 42. What does that mean? Zoran Mandami is doing better than all 3 other candidates that are even relevant candidates put together. Come on. There is no way in this universe that Zoran Mandami is not going to be the next mayor of New York City. And I'm seeing so much conservative cope about this. First of all, conservatives, at least some of the ones okay, I should be fair here. There are many conservatives who have accepted the fact that, yes, there will be a Democratic Socialist for mayor of New York City. Yeah, you have to give credit where credit is due. I shouldn't be poo-pooing everything. So, yes, there are some conservatives who have accepted, yeah, this is reality and we need to hinge back into it. But I've seen so many people online today go, no, he can't win. He's a socialist. No one's going to vote for him. There's going to be this scandal. There's going to be that scandal. Conservatives are trying so hard to make there be a scandal. But the thing is, they're doing it in the wrong way. They're doing it by tweeting. Now, I understand that the right-wing establishment thinks that everything happens on Twitter. But the fact of the matter is the reason that Zoran Mandami is going to be the Democratic Socialist mayor of New York City is because the DSA in New York City got out there, they organized in person, they reached out to new voters who had never voted in mayoral elections before, they did a voter registration drive, they also did a voter turnout drive to make sure those new voters got to the polls. They're in areas of New York where there was a higher level of turnout, there was also a higher level of support for Zoran. I wonder why. It's because the DSA in New York City ran a voter turnout drive, and they're going to do exactly the same thing in the general election. And they have over 30,000 active volunteers. 30,000. 30,000 active volunteers. They have hosted thousands of events all over New York, all over the 5 boroughs, targeting voters that are going to be most likely to vote for Zoran, regardless of whether they've been previous mayoral voters or not. They're getting them registered. And it's just like the machine of the DSA in New York City specifically cannot be underestimated. I'll tell you what, I've been infiltrating a lot of DSA NYC calls lately, so I've actually been going into their private meetings. I actually might currently be a member of the DSA in New York City in order to get access to some of these meetings, not under my real name, of course, under the fake name, one of many fake names that I have to do this stuff under because I can't register for stuff under my real name for obvious reasons. Anyway, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. What I want to say is I've been inside the NYC DSA meetings a lot recently. They have built a machine, guys. The DSA in New York City has spent the last decade, forget the last couple months, forget the last year. They have spent the last decade building a political machine in New York City. And you can see the evolution of this. I mean, this is why AOC won her Congress seat originally. It was part of this machine that they were building. And the DSA in New York is being so pragmatic about it because it's not just about one candidate. It's not about one election. They're building a machine where they are building people that know how to organize politically and how to get stuff done and how to do door knocking and how to do phone calls and how to do text messages and how to get people involved and get people excited. They have an entire apparatus to do this. I dare say the DSA in New York City, based on what I've seen, rivals anything that any state level GOP party has going on in the country. And that's not an exaggeration. Again, if you don't believe me, come to the spy streams that we do on this channel. We've seen them talk about this. We've seen the enthusiasm. We've seen the numbers. We've seen their data. We've seen that they're doing these voter turnout drives. We've seen that they're doing voter registration. We've seen them talking about who their ideal voter is and what communities they're reaching out to. There was a team of people within the DSA in New York that visited like 150 mosques. They were specifically targeting mosques because they wanted to politicize the Free Palestine issue in order to get more people out. Now, you don't have to like the DSA, and God knows I certainly don't. I'm vehemently anti-communist. I'm opposed to everything these people believe in. But you have to respect the work and you have to acknowledge the work. And this is why it is, yeah, Shelly in the chat says to win, you got to put in the work, which they've done. It's like our side has done nothing. Again, our side has memed. Our side has tweeted. Our side has owned the libs over and over and over again. I see all these like videos on Twitter of, did you know that he's a communist? Did you know he wants to take your guns? It's like, do you guys really think that on Twitter you're winning any votes that you didn't have already? Do you really think you're changing any minds? Do you like the people that are on the right, they don't even know what the average person wants in New York. They aren't doing any outreach. It's not as though the right couldn't have done outreach to these communities, by the way. It's not as though that couldn't have happened. And I think one of the biggest telling factors in why it was obvious that Zoran Mandami was going to win and why this was going to be a reality is the DSA even out fundraised everyone. The DSA out fundraised everyone. Zoran brought in something like 20,000 individual gifts in the primary. This is from their own internal data, and I have this on video of them talking about this. Zoran brought in like almost 20,000 individual gifts at an average of $80 a gift. Andrew Cuomo in the primary brought in 2,700. The Republican candidate brought in less than 900. So that's what we're talking about. That is the level at which they are just playing the game better. And this is why, and I mentioned this in the little clip earlier, but I'm going to extrapolate on it a little bit more. This is why it's so dangerous. Every single time conservatives are saying, the left is lazy, they don't have jobs, they just want handouts. All of these bullshit conservative talking points. I know people get upset with me every single time I point out every single thing that conservatives have wrong, but you guys have got to understand that these fucking talking points are what is letting the left win. It's conservatives spewing this bullshit narrative over and over. This is why I say the biggest problem we are facing right now is not actually the left, it's the right. Conservatives going out every day and going, the left is lazy, the left is stupid, the left are mentally ill, they don't want a job, they don't even have jobs, we're the only ones with jobs. It's like I could go on and on and on and on and on about this. It's all bullshit. Not only does the left have jobs, provably, they run the unions. How do they run the unions without having jobs? Come on, just use your head. Not only do they have jobs, but they're going out of their way to do organizing in their spare time for free. These are not paid organizers, a lot of them. Some of them are on staff with the DSA and stuff like that. So there are some paid organizers, but guess what? Those paid organizers made organizing their job. That's what they get paid for. They're doing a job. They treat politics like a job. This is what conservatives don't understand. Conservatives seem to think that the only job someone can have is when you're working like a blue-collar job, working for a company, doing something that you hate. Smart people find a way to make their job the thing they love doing. I am so very blessed. My job is to talk about socialism on the internet and to analyze the left. I fucking love what I do. I am so blessed that I get to do this for a living. I'm so blessed I've got so many people supporting my work that this is my full-time job. It's awesome. How many times have I heard I don't have a real job? Yeah, I work 12 to 16 hours a day doing this. I promise it's a real job. And the left can say exactly the same thing. The left has real jobs. They're organizing, many of them. They've made organizing, they've made political activism the thing that they make their money doing, and they're perfectly happy to do it, which is why they're so excited, which is why, they're able to put together this political machine in New York City. So the conservative bullshit talking points are one of the things that hold us back from taking the left seriously. Look what's happened. The DSA in New York spent the last 10 years building a massive political machine that has very literally allowed them to commandeer the Democratic Party in New York City. And the guy that they're running for mayor currently is polling at 50%. Every other candidate combined doesn't get close to him right now. That's because of all the work they put in. That's because of the effort. That's because they've shown up. People have got to start realizing this. You have got to let go of the conservative bullshit talking points that these people don't have jobs and that they're lazy and they're stupid and they're mentally ill and blah, 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 blah. You got to let it go. If you actually care about beating the left, you have got to hinge into reality. I just don't even know how many more times I can say this. I know I'm probably preaching to the choir right now. Honestly, it's like I bet most of the people even listening to this, you guys probably agree with me and you're probably just as frustrated as I am at the state of affairs where we can't even have a serious conversation about what the left is doing because the right is fucking everything up. And then they'll complain and they'll say, I've seen so many people in my feed today, they're like, I want him to win. New York is a shithole. They get what they deserve. And that's their cope now. And it's like, well, congratulations, he's going to win. And do you think he's the only candidate the DSA has running? Spoiler alert, he's not. The DSA has candidates running literally all over the country. In almost every major city, the DSA has candidates running. They're not all running for mayor. Of course, there's Omar Fatah in Minneapolis. He's probably going to win too, by the way. He is the, what is he, Somali? So he's probably going to win, and there's nothing we can do about that. Again, another failure on behalf of the right to mount any sort of resistance against him. But they're also running city council people literally all over the country. And the DSA has actually recently started this fundraising campaign called Socialist Cash Takes Out Capitalist Trash. where basically the national DSA, and again, I have this on video, they talked about it on a spy stream. The national DSA is organizing phone banking where DSA members are calling other DSA members to raise money for their city council candidates all over the country. They're also raising money doing door knocking campaigns. They're raising tens of thousands of dollars just knocking on doors. You guys always want to know, how is the left funded? How is the left funded? How is the left funded? They're funded because they're going out and knocking on doors and asking for money. They're calling each other and they're saying, "Hey, bro, can you throw in $10 for this candidate? Can you throw in $20, $50, $100? Can you help us out here? We're running a city council race. It's really close. We have a chance at another city council seat." That's what they're doing. This is not a fucking conspiracy. They are doing the work. They are showing up. There's no big bad boogeyman that you can go after and single-handedly take out all their funding, because their funding is real. Their funding is grassroots. And until people start hinging into reality about this, we are completely effed. I don't know how else to say it. People care so much about fighting communism, fighting communism, fighting communism, until you ask them to hinge into reality and acknowledge what real communists and socialists are doing. Then they're like, no, 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 no. Who's funding them, really? Is it Soros? Is it the CCP? And it's just like every single time, man. And even, guess what? Even when you do find out who's funding them, you still don't do anything about it. Like the Party for Socialism and Liberation, the conservatives made a big deal a couple months ago. They're CCP funded. They're CCCP funded. Blah 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 blah. Guess what? The Party for Socialism and Liberation is still funded by the CCP to this day. Nothing has changed. They're still going out doing whatever they're doing. Like there was no difference made, because a lot of hullabaloo got made. Oh, that's a great word, hullabaloo. I should use that more. But a lot of hullabaloo got made on Twitter about the CCP funding, and then nothing ever fucking happened. Shelley says the DSA decided to run a party organization outside the normal party organization. Yes, they did. They created their own candidate development, funding, and grassroots organizing with zero dependence on the main two parties. That is exactly right, Shelley. That is exactly right. And they are winning and they are successful because they are focused 100% on what they are doing. And our side is focused on memeing and bullshit. Well, you know what? The only thing I can do is continue to show you guys what the DSA is doing, and that is exactly what I'm going to be doing tonight. If you guys are around, and I want to thank everyone for coming to the live stream on the Substack. I really appreciate you guys coming out. If you guys have some time, in about 10 minutes, I'm going to start a spy stream on my YouTube channel. This will be a public spy stream, so you don't have to be a supporter to attend. We are actually going to be going inside a live DSA organizing call. The call itself starts at around 8 p.m., so you got a little bit of time if you need to get some dinner or, take a break or whatever. But definitely come to the organizing call, because they're going to be having some really far left socialists speaking on the call tonight. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch, and we're going to see what the national DSA organization is saying. I don't expect them to talk just about Zoran. I expect them to talk about the broader picture in general. So it'll be interesting to see. By the way, everyone knows, right? The DSA National Convention is coming up like next week. So they're probably going to be talking about their national convention. I don't think there's any way for us to watch it. I don't think they're doing a live feed. I keep paying attention. I'm hoping they announce like some sort of live stream so we could watch it live, but I haven't seen anything to that effect. And God knows I'm not going to it. But we will be doing that spy stream at around 8 p.m. I'm going to start the stream in about 10 minutes, so we have a little bit of a leeway. But the other thing I wanted to tell you guys about, just in case you missed it, what I've really been working on this week, because listen, I'm at a place with my work where I literally just want to do things that I think matters. And one of the things that I think matters is that I have launched a nonprofit, and you guys may have heard me talking about this. You can see my beautiful janky webcam right there. But you can find my nonprofit. It's at leftwingstudies.com. It is called the Center for Left-Wing Studies. Let me just get it over here. Meow. That's better. And so I'm actually really excited about this. I have the first round of volunteers for the Center for Left-Wing Studies. This is actually a nonprofit. It is a real thing. And we're going to be working on a couple projects that I'm really excited about getting underway. You can find out more information on the homepage. Two of the projects we're working on right now is I'm actively working on building a map, and this is going to take years, so don't get too excited. I'm working on building a map that is literally going to allow us to map every leftist organization in the country on an actual map. So the points points that you see in here, this is less than half of the Democratic Socialists of America chapters throughout the country. So this isn't even the full list of DSA chapters. I'm just slowly getting them in bit by bit. You can see here, here are all the DSA chapters I have so far, so we can monitor what all these groups are doing, where they're operating, stuff like that. We're going to be able to like filter things and stuff like that. Now, of course, the DSA is not going to be the only organization in here. We're going to have everything in here. We're going to have the political parties. We're going to have the bookstores. We're going to have the publishers. We're going to have the collectives. We're going to have all sorts of stuff in here. There's going to be a massive amount of leftist groups. And I think that before too long, this entire map of the United States is going to be filled with bright red markers. And I don't think people understand the scale to which the far left is organizing in the United States. There is an absurd amount of leftist organizations out there. And I don't think people have any idea how many of these actually exist. And so I'm making a visual representation to show people here is the problem that we're dealing with. And this will also allow us to track them in real time. So that's one thing I've got going on with the Center for Left Wing Studies. You can find this directly and take a look at it at leftwingstudies.com/map. Now, please be kind because I literally just started this, so there's not that much in here right now. But we're going to be building it out. I already have a bunch of people who have volunteered to help, which is awesome and which I really appreciate. Another thing that I literally just got built today, and this might seem like a small deal, but I'm building a lot of stuff on the back end of this so that it'll allow us to do cool things, is I have the zine archive up and running, and I have our first zine loaded in the zine archive. So in the zine archive, you're going to be able to go in and find the actual propaganda materials that the left is putting out there. I want to build this archive so by subject and by year so that we can actually track how leftist propaganda has evolved over time. I wanted to put the first zine in here as Queers Read This because this is honestly one of the most influential zines that's ever been created. It was distributed at the New York Pride Festival in 1999, which might seem early. People are like, that's way before Obama. Yeah, queer started way before Obama, guys, like way before it. And so one of the things this project with the zines is going to do is it's going to help us track the evolution of leftist ideology to understand what we're dealing with, because I really think that that is one of the problems. We don't understand what we're dealing with because no one has ever actually gone in and studied the evolution of this. And so looking at their propaganda and having a massive archive of this stuff is going to be the way to do it. So I built out, you can't see it. It looks so simple here, but there's a giant database on the back end. We're going to be populating that with all sorts of zines. We have thousands of zines already saved that we've been saving for a long time. And you guys are going to be shocked at some of the content of these. I have stuff from Antifa. I have stuff from the most far left queer activists in the country. I've got all sorts of crazy stuff. So that's going to be one of the flagship projects of the Center for Left Wing Studies. We're also going to be building out the Queer Marxism Project, which is going to specifically track the development and evolution of queer Marxism. So that Queers Read This scene is also going to be going on this. And then eventually, and I'm also working on building out this because colleges are about to come back into session, we are going to be tracking gender and queer studies programs and research centers at universities all over the country to find out what crazy research the left is doing next. And so lots of cool projects. I'm really excited about it. And if you want to get involved or if you want to make a donation, I want to do a quick shout out actually, because you can make tax deductible gifts. Again, this is a fiscally sponsored nonprofit organization. I have a 501c3 fiscal sponsor, and your gifts to the Center for Left Wing Studies just support this work. But I want to give a great big shout out because if you go to the giving page and you can see it's in the menu, well, that's not looking the way I want it to look. I'll fix that later. Never mind that. If the menu doesn't look the way you want it to look, just make the window a little bit bigger. You can go to the give page and then click make your donation here. And on this page, you can actually see, I want to give a great big shout out to everyone who's made a donation to the center so far. Almost $1,000 in donations. I'm blown away, guys. Great big shout out to Deborah for over a $500 donation. I'm so humbled that you would that you would give that much. That's awesome. I did not expect that. We've got Average Person. We've got Royal Oasis Psychotherapy. Royal Oasis has always been an amazing supporter of mine. If you're looking for, any mental health resources, they're a great resource. You can find them at Royal Oasis Psychotherapy. Check them out. They've been supporting my work for years. I really do appreciate it. We've got Mary, we've got Jeffrey, we've got Robert. And if you haven't given yet, obviously there's going to be plenty of time to do so. I would love to raise $10,000 by the end of the year. And by the way, Just so people know, I'm not taking a personal salary from the Center for Left-Wing Studies. That's not what this is. I'm raising money to be able to pay for the infrastructure, and eventually I want to hire people. My big goal with starting a nonprofit is to get a grant or to get some rich person to fund the entire nonprofit so that I can hire people and build out a team of people where we are analyzing the left from an objective fashion. These are going to be people that I've trained, that are doing it my way, that aren't going to be pushing any sort of bullshit narrative. That's the vision for this. So I'm not taking any personal salary, but I do want to thank you guys for donating, because in setting up this website and in getting the databases set up, I have had to pay for things like security. I have nightly backups running on this. I have security making sure no one can mess with the website, because I'm sure as soon as the left figures out that we're making a massive list of their organizations, they're not going to be happy about it and they're going to try to attack my website. Guess what? I've already got the security infrastructure set up for that, but that costs a little bit of money, and so I'm going to reimburse myself for that. So I hope you'll forgive me. Also, I had to pay for different plugins, different technology, that sort of thing. So that is where the donations are going right now. Anything that is extra that I don't need to put into technological resources or other things, that's going to stay in a bank account, and we're going to save it up, and I'm going to use it to hire people and to build out the nonprofit. But I want people to know I am personally not taking a salary. My salary is funded from the main Substack, again, karlyn.substack.com, all your subscriptions to there. It's funded from book sales, it's funded from merchandise sales, and it's funded from my streaming, my YouTube channel, stuff like that. And any other gifts you guys see feel free to give me, but it's not coming out of the nonprofit. And I want people to know that going into it. This is serious. The nonprofit is completely separate from all my for-profit stuff. And it's just a way to be able to have a research arm of what I'm doing. Because one of the things that I've learned over the past several years is I always thought there were other people doing this type of research. No, there's not. There's just us. So if we want a research arm, we have to build it. If we want a resource that's studying the left and analyzing the left and only using primary source evidence, we have to build that. It doesn't exist. So we're not going to be those people who just sit back and complain all the time and tweet and meme and stuff like that. I am going to do shit in the real world, and I'm going to build out as many resources as I can to help people understand the left. And that's my contribution, man. That is my contribution. And I appreciate everyone who's volunteered so far. If you want to volunteer to help out, again, you can go to Center for its Left-Wing Studies, and the volunteer link is in the top, and you can just follow the instructions there. Now, it's very important that you follow instructions, okay? The instructions are there for a reason. If you can't follow instructions, then I don't want you inputting data into my database. I'm very concerned about maintaining a very high level of data integrity. So you have to be able to follow the instructions to volunteer. And if you can't do that, that's the first hurdle. But if you can do that, then maybe we can talk and we can work together, and that would be awesome. So I got to wrap it up, guys. I got to go start the spy stream. Again, head over to the YouTube channel, Rumble channel. I'm also streaming on X and Kick. YouTube is going to have the best chat always. But head over to the YouTube channel and make sure you're subscribed. And we'll be starting our spy stream and watching the organizing call of the National Democratic Socialists for America. I'm going to be starting the stream any minute here. Basically, going to get off the live stream here, and I'm going to go over and start the stream there. The meeting actually starts in about half an hour at 8 p.m., so you can join us then if you want to. And I'll be back here maybe tomorrow, but I'm going to try to do more live streams over here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for allowing me to do what I do. And now let's go watch some Socialists. All right? Catch you guys on the other side. We'll see you soon.